All right, good morning everyone. It's Manny here with K9PT, and it's Monday morning, and I, like many of you, are multitasking. I'm currently on the way to drop off a dog back at his home, and I thought, in the spirit of being authentic and genuine, I'd go ahead and film the very first episode of Mondays with Manny while I'm in the car doing something else, because so much of my day is multitasking, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate. So please don't mind me, as most of my attention will be forward and not on the camera. That's why. So with that being said, welcome to the very first episode of Mondays with Manny. I'm really excited to see how this weekly program unfolds, and it may in fact take many different forms. So the question that I'd like to address in this first episode is a question that I've received pretty frequently since launching the company a few months back, and that's why canine parent training, or why K9PT? Well, when I get into thinking about it, it's really a two-part answer. And the first part has to do with my background as a teacher. I really haven't been training dogs all that long professionally. It's been about 5 years, but I've spent about 20 years working as a teacher in a lot of different platforms, those being circus performance, acrobatics, martial arts, theater, cheer, dance, gymnastics, and all sorts of other things. And in those fields, I've been both a student and a teacher. And what I've learned over the years is that the common denominator is this: the most successful people in those fields and in dog training have a really good coach in their corner, pointing out not just their successes, not just things to be celebrated, but constructively criticizing things that need to be improved upon in order for that person to be even more successful in that field. And I equate dog training to be very similar. I see a lot of dog training programs out there able to get really good results with dogs, and somewhere along the line, not every time, but somewhere along the line, those programs fall short in making sure that they're getting really good coaching to that owner in order for them to sustain that progress. Hey Marco. He's a little distracted. There's a fire truck just over here. You might be able to hear it. But that's one of the main reasons, is we want to make sure K9PT is known specifically for quality instruction for the human. We want to train the people about dog training. So the second part of the answer is a little bit of a philosophical reason. I wanted to create a strong association between what it means to be a dog owner and train a dog, and being a parent, and what that means. If we can all wrap our heads around the idea that owning a dog is really like parenting a dog, I think a lot of families will find much more success more frequently or faster when we think about it that way. You know, being a parent sometimes means sharing with our children a more difficult lesson, not just building them up and celebrating their successes similar to a coach, but also sharing with our children constructive criticisms that allow for them to better cope with the stress that is life and difficult lessons. Be it, when a kid is younger, teaching them to keep their hands out of the electrical socket, or not hug and hang on the dogs or step on them, or keeping their hands to themselves with another kid. Or maybe when the child is a little bit older, let's say teenage years, teaching them about drugs, teaching them about sex, teaching them about violence, and just how scary the world can be, not to make them afraid, but to prepare them, right? So sharing with them difficult lessons. And I think that owning a dog is very similar. If we consider it to be parenting a dog, that means not just showering our dogs with lots of love and affection and toys and food and all of those really fun things that make us feel good. Parenting a dog, or canine parenting a dog, means sharing with our dogs sometimes a more difficult lesson, sometimes saying no, sometimes doing what doesn't exactly make us feel really great, the same as treats or toys would. in order for our dogs to learn to better navigate a human-oriented world. So when someone asks why K9PT or why canine parent training, I really want them to think of those two things. And you can share this with anybody that you're talking to who might be considering us for services. And that's K9PT aims to specifically provide the training to the owner in order to get better at dog training. And K9PT aims to cultivate a perception of owning a dog, and it's more to do with parenting the dog, meaning it's not all sunshine and rainbows, to quote the famed Rocky Balboa. And yes, I do know he's a fictional character. That just means that some lessons are easy and some lessons are more difficult, just like parenting. So with that, I wanted to go ahead and thank you guys for tuning in. It's going to be really interesting figuring out what direction Mondays with Manny will take. It's going to be filmed in lots of different locations, in different formats. We might be addressing Q&As. We might just be storytelling about my personal life or life in general, dog training tips and tutorials. All sorts of things may or may not be going down. So if that interests you, subscribe to my channel, follow me along as these things develop, and have a really great day.